Zachariah's name means remembrance of Jehovah. And then we have John or Johannes, which means Jehovah is gracious. So in your Quran you have 3 prophets named after a deity called Jehovah. So the question would be, why are these, if this is a pagan god, why are these prophets named after Jehovah? Who is Jehovah? So I would like you to read. Do you have a Quran on you?
No.
Okay. Let me find.
It was private. Did you get your phone? Yeah, I got it.
So read the Quran. Okay, so my question to you is, what is the meaning? So I'm going to the Quran 19, Maryam, verse 7, where it talks about Zachariah and John the Baptist. So it says, he was told, O Zachariah, indeed we give you good tidings of a boy whose name will be John. We have not assigned to any before this name. So I'm just saying, if you can read the Arabic, what is your understanding? Oh, you don't read Arabic?
What's going on?
I just want to know what is the interpretation or the meaning of this verse from the Arabic. 19:7.
يا زكريا إن هبنا نبشرك بغلام اسمه يحيى لم نجعله من قبل سميا.
Yeah. So what is the verse saying?
Means we're going to give you a child, Zakaria.
Yep.
The name hasn't been before give it to you. Now that's a new name. You give him Zakaria.
So no one has been called John before.
Yes, that's what it says.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, which is John the Baptist.
Did he call his son John?
That in English is John, because that's John the
I want to
Baptist.
ask you a question. Yes. According to this verse, what name did he give him?
Yahya.
John or Yahya?
No, Yahya.
Yahya.
Yeah.
Right. And he would have had a Hebrew name.
In English, maybe they call it John.
Yes.
No, but Timtum, what name did he give him?
Yahya.
Right.
Was it different to Yahya? Was it a Hebrew version of Yahya?
No, Yahya.
Right. So what is the Hebrew version of? You said the English is John.
No, they call it John. I don't know.
Thank you very much. So this is.
The Arabic will call it Yahya.
Yeah.
But in English, I don't know.
It's John. You said that before.
No, they said.
You said.
Yeah,
come
the
on.
translation said
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
No, not
yeah,
me.
but come on, you know this already.
But in Arabic, it's not John.
Right.
They call it in English.
So
the translation they call it John.
If Zachariah was an Israelite, the name wouldn't have been in Arabic, right?
No, Zachariah.
Exactly.
Or is it a loan word?
I don't know. It's mixed. It could
Jibreel is not Arabic.
No, it could be Hebrew.
Yeah, so let me, if you just finishing this conversation and we can have a conversation as well. It's just because it's not to do with our topic.
You got it first. And he's John, and he's going to give the Hebrew version of the name, and then he's going to try and prove that this name was given to someone.
Right.
No.
So
Yahya.
Right. But this is. But you see, he's speaking Arabic because he knows what I'm going to say.
No.
Because whatever he says, even if he says, well, Arab, the name Yahya doesn't translate to anything, this would be an incorrect, a historical statement.
No,
because he would have had to have given a Hebrew name.
Can I say something?
Yes.
You cannot change the name.
Right.
If his name Paperboy, it's going to be Paperboy in Arabic, in English, in Hebrew.
No.
You cannot change the name.
Of course.
That's a problem. You can't.
When we started this, you said John because you understood. Now you've listened to him. You're changing your point. Because let me just explain why you're wrong. I'll explain why. Because Hebrew and Arabic have similar alphabets, so you can transliterate words, or they can have the same cognate if there's a difference.
Yeah, but the name, you cannot change the name. You cannot translate the name.
So are you telling me Allah gave a Hebrew person the name Yahya?
What do you mean?
Are you telling me Zachariah was an Israelite, but not Israelite? So are you telling me Yahya itself is not an Arabic, but it's a Hebrew name?
I don't know if it's Hebrew or Arabic. Because Hebrew and
I'm
Arabic
telling you,
is
it's
similar.
Arabic. So the Hebrew name, he would have had the equivalent. But as you read out,
So
it
what's the
said
equivalent in Hebrew?
Yeah, what?
Johannes. John.
Johannes?
Yeah. It's John.
Johannes.
Yeah.
I forget John. John's got nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, that's why.
Arabic and Hebrew.
Yeah, I said Johannes.
Johannes.
Because
Yes.
Arabic and Hebrew, like a similar language, Semitic
So
language.
my question is this: because you said
They
it
call
was.
it like this. The
Yes.
translation.
So I'm saying
Not
to
in
you.
Arabic.
Right. So I'm saying, look, that you agree that the verse said no one has had this name before.
That's what they said in there.
Right. So my question is,
Yeah.
if you have someone who was in Hebrew, a high priest called John Hyrcanus, and he died, he was born in 164 BCE. So my question is, how can the Quran say no one has had the name John before when we
John.
have?
It's not John.
So what is the name in Hebrew?
It's not
So
John.
you're gonna
The
find
name
the
is
name in
Yahya. It's
Hebrew.
not John.
Find the name in Hebrew.
Oh yeah, look, let me show you the name in
and
Hebrew.
then let's look at the verse again.
It's not John. They put it like this in English. You understand? Okay.
Because everyone knows Zachariah's son was John the Baptist.
They call
right?
it like this.
So I'll show you what the
But they call it like this. It's not has to be.
right. So I have the names anyway. So here, Jonathan is from Yohanan. Sorry, Yohanan.
That's Joel.
Yeah, Yohanan, which is Jonathan, John the Baptist. That's who Zachariah's son was.
So you're saying there's someone called Yohanan before?
Yes.
Yeah, but it's not Yahya.
So what was that? That's my question. So now you're saying. Okay, wait. Let's go to your point. Let's go to your point. You're saying.
Yeah, ask me.
You're saying no one was given the name Yahya.
That's what it says in there.
So how can an Israelite be given an Arabic name? That doesn't make sense.
What do you mean?
Because-
Why not?
So you're telling me now this would be a historical
Yes,
error?
No, it's not historical
Of
error.
course. Because
Why is Yahya Arabic? Why couldn't it be Hebrew?
because we know John the Baptist from even historical records, his name would have been Johannes. We all know that. So when it gets to the Quran and the Quran tells a story and says we Yahya is just the Arabic for John. Because it's the same person. So now I've shown you.
John and no.
So unless you're saying it's a fake name and the Quran says, well, we gave him a fake name.
No.
So it's one of the two. Either one doesn't help you. His name is John Hyrcanus.
Well, what's your point now?
Because
I don't
my
understand.
point was, that's why I asked you to read in Arabic.
Yeah.
And you said the Quran says that no one has had that name before. So I'm asking you, how can we have someone called John Hyrcanus? I'll show you it
Wait,
again.
Give me the
Same.
verse and chapter, please.
And 19:7. That's why I asked to read it in the Arabic, so you know I'm not trying to twist the verse. So here he is,
Tafsir.
John Hyrcanus.
Show it.
Yeah, John Hyrcanus.
Before you were blocking the camera.
Am I blocking?
Yeah, why are you running away? Come, why are you running away? All right. Because my question is very clear. We know John the Baptist. Throughout history, his name was John. An English person wouldn't say his original name was John. They'll say his original name was a Hebrew name, which was Johannes. So if the Quran is telling the story of how he got his name, then we know if Yahya is an Arabic name, he wasn't given an Arabic name, he was given a Hebrew name, but Yahya is just the Arabic equivalent. And he read out the Arabic and said that the Quran confirms that no one had had that name before. But the problem is we do have people with that name before. One was the high priest and his son as well. It was John Hyrcanus II. So this is a historical error.
What's the name? What's the meaning of the name?
And even that is even worse. The meaning of the name is Yahweh is gracious. So the fact that why is Allah naming someone after Jehovah? Who is Jehovah? That's what we have to ask Muslims. Who is Jehovah?
That's a good question.
Because the Quran explicitly says we gave him this name. So there's 2 points. Point one is that the Quran says that no one has had that name before, but we find John Hyrcanus, the high priest, had that name before. 2 people had that name before who we can find in recorded history through coins and whatnot. And then the second point is, if the name means Jehovah is gracious, why is Allah then naming someone with a name that means Jehovah is gracious? Because if I ask Muslims who is Allah, they will say, who is Jehovah? They'll say they don't know. Because even here, I have from Islam Web, and it's someone asked a question.
Yeah.
What is the true name of God? Is it Allah or Yahweh or what? Where can I find information on the language of Aramaic and the name used by Jesus? And they said, the real name of God is Allah. This is the name he named himself with in his revealed book on the tongue of his prophets and messenger. May Allah exalt their mention. So if you reject the name of God, that would be an act of kufr. So they're saying Allah is the eternal name. No one, they're not even recognizing the name Yahweh. But then you have a prophet called Elijah. His name means my God is Jehovah. You have Zechariah. His name means, which I've forgotten. Let me just have a look.
I say mean Paperboy.
Zechariah's name means remembrance of Jehovah.
Alright.
And then we have John or Johannes, which means Jehovah is gracious. So in your Quran you have 3 prophets named after a deity called Jehovah. So the question would be, why are these, if this is a pagan god, why are these prophets named after Jehovah? Who is Jehovah? It would seem very odd.
Yes.
But yeah, on the other hand, why would Allah name someone after a pagan god?
Exactly.
Which gets even better and better.
You said Yahweh's pagan.
He knows.
Do you acknowledge the name Jehovah?
I don't know what it means. What does it mean?
I am that I am.
It could be what they called at that time.
Right, but this would be the strange thing. Islam calls Jews and Christians to Islam. So Jews and Christians know the name Jehovah. But apparently when you then become a Muslim, the name becomes abrogated because that name is not valid in your prayers.
Which prayers?
If you say Jehovah in your prayers, if you do your salah and whatnot and use the name, if you use the name.
For salah, you have to read the Quran.
Right.
Yes.
But you can't.
But anything else, you can say any language.
Right, but if in your prayers, you have to use the name
salah.
Allah. Yeah.
So in salah, you read the Quran.
Okay.
So if the Quran mentions his attributes, the most merciful,
Yes.
Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim,
Right.
or Allah,
Okay.
you cannot go out of that.
Right.
But dua, which is supplication outside of salah,
Yeah.
you can do it in any language.
But then the question would be, if you're reading from the Quran, even if you knew that Allah's name was Jehovah, why would that invalidate your prayer?
Because you have to read from the Quran only.
Yeah, but if that's his name, and Allah is recognized by that name, that is his name, then it should be valid. Because that's what I'm asking you, who is Jehovah? That's the first question, who is Jehovah? Because you have 3 prophets in your Quran named after this deity. I've read from Islam Web, they said that Jehovah is not a valid name, period. Allah is the name Muslims should use. So the question is, again, why would you have 3 prophets named after Jehovah? Because in the biblical sense, all prophets.
No, I think it's an element of, you said, of abrogation.
So,
In terms of using it in salah.
Okay, but I'm just saying in general.
No, I don't see that. As long as it
Right.
have a bad connotation.
No,
In dua, there shouldn't be a reason by. What's
that's-
the meaning of it? Jehovah.
I am that I am. That's the name that was revealed to Moses. So
I
look,
am that I am.
Yeah.
What,
So
the
look, Pentateuch
no, the.
in the Exodus.
Right. Okay. Yeah,
You're
I
right.
understand.
So what I'm trying to say to you, these are all like prophets' names and biblical names. All these people are named after Jehovah. This is why people reject the name Allah and say that was not the name that was revealed to anyone. This is the divine name because you have not all these people in the Quran, but we understand the meaning of names. So the question is, who is Yahweh? Because you have 3 of these prophets, Zechariah,
Yeah, but what about Ishmael?
Ishmael. That means
What did Ishmael mean?
Ishmael means.
God. Hears him.
I don't have that. We can have a
God
look.
hears him.
Huh?
God hears him.
Yeah, God. So El is for God. So God hears him. But they also incorporate, like for example, in Islam, you have like Abdullah and names that are derivatives of
No, but
Allah.
what I'm saying is Ishmael is recognized and it's in the Quran.
Yeah,
And the
Ishmael.
mean- and the-
But Ishmael just means that in itself.
And the meaning is
Yeah.
affirmed that it's referring to God.
Right.
So when
Yes. That's a
Sarah laughed,
Yeah.
no, when he cried, I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
When he cried,
Yeah.
when it was according to the Bible,
Yeah.
he went to is it Becca? No, where was he? Beersheba.
So, yeah.
And in the Quran, he went to Mecca.
Okay.
When he cried,
Well, there's no evidence that Becca is Mecca.
it doesn't matter.
All right.
The point is this: that when he cried, in terms of those 2 stories, when he cried,
Thanks.
God heard him.
Yeah.
So and that name was retained.
Yeah, El, but not Allah. Why would?
Ismail.
Yeah, but it's like for think
But what does il mean?
it doesn't mean Allah.
But what does it mean? I'm asking
It means
you,
God.
what it means, God.
So are you
But
saying-
is it accepted?
Is
From
what?
Islamic standpoint. Is that name accepted?
Why?
With that meaning, God hears it.
You tell me.
Yeah, well, it's in the Quran. Ismail is mentioned by name.
Okay.
So so what I'm trying to say is, it shows
Right.
that at least in this instance, a name which also the Old Testament confirms.
But that's a title.
or
El is
uses-
title.
Yeah, but a title for God.
Yeah, but we're talking about God's name, his personal name, which is different.
I am is his name.
That's the meaning of the name. That's the meaning.
I am is his name.
Yeah, let's
Or
go-
is it a statement?
Yeah. it's-
I am.
When Moses
He
said,
says, what is your name?
right, and he said,
he
I
says-
am who I am.
I am who I am.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
YHWH.
Is
So,
that his name?
yes, that's the name of God.
Or is he just saying, I am who I am?
No, let me even show you something different. For example, right? We'll get back to the topic,
No,
but I just want to show you something quickly.
No, what I'm saying is biblical names, like with Ishmael, are confirmed in the Quran.
So, do you accept the name Jehovah? Is what I'm asking.
I don't know
you.
what it means.
It doesn't matter if you know. That's the
Depends
name.
what it means. I'll give you an example.
You're asking what it means,
I
right?
need to know what it means.
But why? If
I'll
it
tell
means
you what it
something,
means.
let me tell you something.
If Jehovah meant three
Right.
gods in one,
Right.
I will say no.
So then, if it meant three gods in one,
If
my
it
question
meant-
would be, why are the prophets called three gods in one? We get to the same
but that's
point.
not the point.
Yes, it is the
But
point.
it's not the case, sorry.
Yes, because I'm
Is
saying
it
to
the
you,
case?
I'm saying the meaning doesn't make a
What I
difference.
accept
Yes.
has to be in accordance with Islam.
Right. So
I'll
I'm
give an example.
Yep, I'm saying
I'll
to
give
you.
an example.
Right.
If my name is War
Yes.
and I became Muslim,
Yes.
I'm told to change my name
Okay.
because the war is the name
Right.
War
But
is not a good thing.
did
so I will then adopt the name.
But that's not a relevant point because
is.
did the prophets change their name?
I tell you something.
Did the prophets change their name?
No, you're not. Okay, but I don't know whether you're.
Yeah, I know you're
understanding
saying
me.
if it's a negative connotation,
Yes.
but that's what I'm
So
saying.
what does
my,
Jehovah mean?
so my point is this: why?
tell me what it
yeah,
means.
but yeah, I told you we discussed
No,
it. But my
no,
point is
I
this:
don't know.
you're saying if it has a negative connotation. So my
Yes.
question to you is: would a prophet be given a name with a negative connotation?
I don't believe so. No.
Exactly. That's why what we're going on is a tangent. Because if
No,
the
it's not
name
a
was good
tangent.
enough for the prophets,
According to whom?
according to the prophets' names.
Where?
Because Allah
Where?
named, in your Quran, John in 19:7, for example.
What are you talking about?
I'm saying, if Allah said to Zachariah,
What are
call-
you talking about?
let me explain. I'm saying to you, if you're
Bible?
No, I'm saying in the Quran, 19
Yes.
verse 7, Surah Al-Miriam.
Okay.
If Allah says to Zachariah,
Yes.
you shall call your son Zachariah, Yahya. And if that name means Jehovah is gracious, then clearly it was acceptable for Allah to even give that name in the first place. So whether your question whether it's valid or not, the question would be why was it valid enough for Allah?
Was it given?
According to your Quran, yes.
What does it say in my Quran?
It says that Zachariah was given the name Yahya.
The question is
Yes.
whether the name Yahya itself was given
Yes.
or the Hebrew translation. So Yahya or what's the name in
Johannes.
Johannes. So
Right.
the question is whether Johannes was given, and when Allah mentioned it in the Quran, He gave the Arabic translation of it or derivative of it.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Or whether the name Yahya was actually
Right.
given to Zachariah.
Yeah, but-
and then consequently they then used the Hebrew version.
Right, but
That's the question.
But it goes to the point. If we have a historical person called Johannes, that was his historical name. So whether the Quran says we gave him the name Bob, that name Bob has to go back to
Use another name.
or whatever. But the point is that name still has to go back to the historical person who was called Johannes, because that was the name that would have been given to Zachariah to name his son for the historical person. So it doesn't matter what the Arabic derivative is, it still goes back to the historical person who was called Johannes. So we know that was the actual name that was
So what
given.
you're saying is when the Quran references Yahya,
Yes.
peace be upon him, the name given to Zachariah, the biblical Yahya was Johannes.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
That's what we know historically. Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Yes.
And then there were other Johanneses prior
Yes.
to him.
So that's the first. That's an error in the Quran
So that's what you're saying.
by making that statement, because that's why I got him to read the Arabic, because I didn't want to seem like I was twisting the
No,
verse.
the Arabic is Yahya.
Yeah, but he said he confirmed that the Quran says that no one on earth had that name before. Because the problem is, the Quran corrupts the text of the Bible. Where in the book of Luke, Zachariah is told no one in your family has had that name before.
That's what I was going to quote.
Right.
So
exactly.
What does the Tafsir say?
So I will go to the Tafsir.
Because I've got what you've just said in Luke. None of his kindred, his kith or kin. So is it whether anyone within his family had that name, or anyone full stop had that name?
So we're going to the Tafsir.
From what I've found, it makes a generic statement.
I read it. He read it out and he confirmed to none before him. Qatada ibn Juraj and Ibn Said said this means that no one has had the name before him. Ibn Jarir preferred his interpretation. May Allah have mercy upon him. So we've gone to the Tafsir. Al-Jalalayn, Ibn Kathir, they both say the same thing because they didn't realize that historically this person actually existed. So it's a clear historical error in the Quran by saying that no one had that name before. And then the second point is, why would he be named after a deity? Because Christians say God's name is Jehovah, and Muslims reject this. They say Allah, Allah all the time, Allah, Allahu Akbar. They don't say Jehovah Akbar. Never.
And it says something that, even Jesus, when Jesus lived, he didn't say Jehovah. That's just not his name.
Do you want to answer?
When he went on the cross, tell me why he didn't use, when he was on the cross, why didn't he use the word Jehovah?
Because you can use the word, the title of God, like I pray to God, or you can say God's divine name. It doesn't matter. Because Christians pray to God. We don't always use the name Jehovah, but we acknowledge that the name of God is Jehovah.
What about jealous?
So,
Jealous?
Jealous?
Yeah, jealous.
What's
God
that?
says his name is jealous. The Old Testament.
Okay,
Yeah, tell me why.
That's not the name
he said,
that was revealed
jealous.
to Moses.
No.
What was the name revealed to Moses?
No, I'm telling you.
Right.
He said his name is jealous.
Yeah, show us the verse.
No, when you finish.
Okay, afterwards we'll have a discussion.
Remember,
Okay.
Last
All
week
right.
Saturday,
Yeah.
he said you're going to show me
Yeah.
the concept of Trinity.
Oh
You know
yeah.
about that?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're going to
Yeah.
He's debating with you. So that's
So-
the topic. That's very important.
Did he give to you the first page of the book? Why you lie, Paperboy? Why?
No, he's debating. They're talking about Yahya.
Paperboy, why you lie? Why you lie?
We'll answer that afterwards. I'll answer that afterwards.
Why you lie? Why you lie?
He said he's a scholar as well. So when you watch SOCO,
He didn't say that he's a scholar.
okay, you did say he's not a scholar. Anyway, when
I said-
afterwards we'll
Show me
continue.
where he said he's a great scholar.
No, finished.
I want to prove
Yeah,
that you don't
that's
have
fine.
man to talk about
Okay,
it.
that's no worries. You can have a look into
I'm gonna
it,
look into it.
and we can have a
So I
discussion
need to
next
find out
week.
whether
Yes.
the belief is that whether he was given the name Johannes,
Yeah.
Johannes,
Yeah.
and the term Yahya
yeah.
was a derivation of that,
Right.
or whether he was given the actual name Yahya itself.
Yeah. But again, the problem would be,
That's why
we
they
know
find
the
out.
historical person was, that's why we all say John the Baptist.
Yeah.
But we know his real name in Hebrew was Johannes. So that means whatever reasoning you give, even if you were saying it was a nickname, the problem is he still had a human name called Johannes, which is where did it come from? He was named by God. So we're always stuck at that point of his Hebrew name. So we have the one of his Hebrew name was Johannes, and the meaning of the name, which is Jehovah is gracious. So the question is, who is Jehovah? So that you can have a look next week. And
What does Jehovah mean?
We've
No, but-
discussed that.
no, I'm
It
sorry,
means
I
I
don't
am that I am.
Oh, that's what Jehovah means. I am that I am.
Yeah, it's just from Yahweh, but the anglicized is Jehovah, so I say Yahweh instead.
All right. Thank you for your time. I'll look
All
into
right,
it.
next week.
Inshallah.
So just to conclude,
You're live, by the way.
So just to conclude, we had a discussion about the name of Yahya. So in the Quran 19:7, it says that Allah gave the name to Zachariah to name his son, and no one had been named that before. But the problem is, I showed them that from history, in 164 BC, there is someone called John Hyrcanus who was a high priest. So therefore, this highlights an error in the Quran. And the second point was the name means Jehovah is gracious. So the second question would be, why would Allah give a prophet a name of a deity that is a pagan god? Because if that's not the name of God, then why is this name in the Quran? Why does this person have their name historically? So on that note, that's something for people to ponder, that we have 3 prophets in the Quran who are named after the deity called Jehovah. So if Muslims reject this name, then rejecting the name of God would be an act of kufr. Because why would God abrogate his name when you become Muslim? That's why Christians acknowledge the name from the Old Testament. So if people do their research, they'll come to the conclusion that Jesus is Lord and that Jehovah is the God, the true God, not Allah. That is just a generic name. So on that note, peace out.
Thank you, Paperboy.